Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. The regular season is coming to an end and the Warriors are close to the playoffs. This team is good, but has been inconsistent throughout the season. But the Warriors could surprise in the playoffs with the experience of their players, Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. If they are healthy, along with the young core, they could go far and even reach the Western Conference Finals. In the postseason, the Warriors will make changes to the roster. Rumors: Warriors want to sign Michael Porter Jr. The recipe for success for the Golden State Warriors is simple. Golden State, which ranks second in three-point attempts per game, prides itself on maximizing its transition and half-court long-range shooting opportunities nightly. Stephen Curry, shooting 39.7% from deep, routinely delivers on the perimeter. However, it's fair to assume the four-time NBA champion misses his trustworthy splash brother, Klay Thompson. Buddy Hield was expected to fill that void this season, but the Oklahoma product hasn't been a dependable three-point shooter in recent months. In the offseason, the Warriors could acquire a Denver Nuggets star forward known for his superb sharpshooting in the big leagues. Michael Porter Jr. is among the best NBA number 3 scoring options. Although the Missouri product's shot-creating ability isn't elite, his shot preparation as an off-ball threat makes him a near-automatic long-range sniper. Porter Jr. shines from three-point land, ensuring his footwork is clean in drive and kick situations and getting maximum elevation on his jump shot before exhibiting his hitch-free release. The 26-year-old pro is on track to shoot at least 39% from downtown for the fifth time in 6 seasons, which shows he comprehends the importance of playing to his strengths on the offensive end. Still, although the Nuggets didn't part with Porter Jr. before the February 6 trade deadline, their recent decision to fire Mike Malone before the playoffs could hint at their offseason plans. If Porter Jr. surprisingly becomes available in free agency, a trade package centered around Jonathan Kuminga, sign-and-trade, a rising NBA star wing averaging 15.6 points per game, could pique the Nuggets' interest. Time will tell if the Nuggets and Warriors conduct business during the summer. Golden State Warriors' key for playoff success revealed. Since adding Jimmy Butler ahead of the 2025 NBA trade deadline, the Golden State Warriors have surged up the standings and look ready to make the postseason outright without having to fight their way through the play-in tournament. The Warriors look the part of title contenders, and Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Butler are all able to play to their strengths. However, there is some doubt that the Warriors can continue their hot streak into the playoffs. After all, this is not the first time this season the Warriors looked unbeatable. They started the season 12-3 and were the best team in the Western Conference, better than even the Oklahoma City Thunder. Team defense was their calling card, but they since fell back to earth. When Golden State started 12-3, it had the NBA's fourth-best defense, pointed out the Athletics' Law Murray. From that point until the trade deadline, the Warriors were 13-23 with the 20th-ranked defense. But since Jimmy Butler debuted, Golden State has the NBA's best defense. Not exactly the mark of consistency over the full season, but there is no denying the Warriors' ceiling is much higher with Butler defending with self-proclaimed Defensive Player of the Year candidate Draymond Green. With Butler and Green both starting, there is little reason to think the Warriors can't sustain their excellent defense, but fans have seen them dip suddenly before, and in the postseason there won't be much room for error. Perceived Jimmy Butler strength could become fatal flaw for Warriors. This could become a major concern. Getty Images. The postseason is a time where strengths shine and weaknesses become magnified, leaving Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors with plenty of work to do should they secure a playoff berth after the final 4 games of the regular season. Fortunately for the Warriors, they haven't had too many weaknesses since their blockbuster acquisition of Jimmy Butler in early February. Golden State have ranked 8th in offense, 2nd in defense and 3rd in net rating since February 7, having surged up the Western Conference standings while generating championship discussion as a result. The Warriors' mid-range shooting struggles could be exploited in the postseason. In a recent in-depth article looking at the biggest weakness of every finals contender, ESPN's Zach Kram and Kevin Pelton focused on mid-range shooting as the biggest issue for the Warriors that could be exploited come the postseason. They brought to light the fact Golden State ranks fourth last across the league on two-point attempts outside the paint at 37%, and looked at recent playoff history as to why this might become a bigger concern going forward. Naturally, the Warriors compensate by limiting their mid-range shots to a bottom 10 rate. But that may increase by necessity in the postseason. Over the past 4 years, playoff teams have attempted 14% of their shots as twos outside the paint, up from 13% for those same teams in the regular season, Kram and Pelton wrote. Perhaps the biggest issue for the Warriors is that Butler's addition hasn't done much to improve these numbers, despite the 6x All-Star having long been renowned for his excellence in the mid-range area. Kram and Pelton point out that Butler himself has only been at 37% on two-point attempts outside the paint. This can be taken into a more extensive discussion on Butler's overall shooting and scoring, which has dipped with Golden State regardless of his enormous overall impact. While Butler is still averaging over 17 points per game thanks to his interior scoring and ability to get to the free throw line, his jump shooting still hasn't fully arrived from Miami. On top of the aforementioned mid-range numbers, the 35-year-old is still only at 25.8% from three-point range across his 26 games with the Warriors. Given Golden State already have a number of other non-spacing threats in their front court, Draymond Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Kevin Looney etc., Butler's ability to make defenses pay at least from the mid-range is going to be pivotal in the team's playoff chances. If he can't find his shooting stroke, it's unlikely that playoff Jimmy will materialize enough for the Warriors to be a true threat against teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston Rockets, Los Angeles Lakers and Denver Nuggets. Jimmy Butler failing in new role with Warriors, says Gilbert Arenas. Even though the Golden State Warriors and Jimmy Butler era has undergone massive success, Gilbert Arenas seems to think the opposite. The majority of his criticism though is because of how elite Stephen Curry has been. After the latter won Western Conference Player of the Week after posting nearly 40 points per game in a 3-game span, Arenas faults Butler for not doing his job. You bring Jimmy Butler over to be the second option and you see Steph struggling and you don't take on the heavy load, it's really concerning, Arenas said. I don't know what you're waiting for and I don't know if you think you can turn it on in the playoffs and just be a super aggressive person. Right now, you're exhausting Steph at this point. To the point where he might not even be fully energized for the playoffs. That has been the story for Curry all season long. At age 37, he's been winded and had to carry the team. Luckily, when the Warriors traded for Butler, he was that superstar they needed. To Arenas' point, Butler won't be an elite scorer but can do everything else. He can open the floor up for Curry and his teammates. In addition, he can get to the free throw line a considerable amount, and still be an elite defender. Gilbert Arenas doesn't see Jimmy Butler benefiting the Warriors. Although Arenas doesn't seem to be a fan, Butler's impact speaks for itself. The Warriors are 21-4 with him, and they were 13-2 in the first month with Butler on the team. The statistics might not be there, but ignoring his impact is asinine. Regardless, Arenas remained committed to his point. This is one of those games where you're supposed to be doing you, Arenas said. You get all the way to the paint, 90% of every time you drive its pass. So if you ever paid attention, no one's actually guarding you like that. Do you think you can turn it on the last 5 minutes? That's cool, we know you do that. But the other 43 actually do matter. Being consistent for the entire game is necessary and crucial heading into the postseason. However, everyone has seen what Butler can do in the postseason. Although it's a lot to bank on that happening, history often repeats itself. Plus, Butler is adjusting to the Warriors system. Once he gets fully acclimated, then he'll decipher and discern when to flip the switch and take on the scoring load.